Guys Podcast. Justin Goodhart alongside Cameron Klein. Fly Guys Podcast, of course, presented to you by FanDuel. And Cameron, as we bring in this wonderful show for its 214th edition, it's one. You know what? We've done over 200 of these. They've been fun. They've been miserable. They've been non-hockey. They've been research based. But you know what? Tonight it's a bit of a rare one. It's a bit of a rare one because we're going to be talking tonight about a fun hockey team, and it's not any other team than the team we love the most, the Philadelphia Flyers. How you doing tonight, bud?
Yeah, good. I'm good, dude. It's fun. We're going to do what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Just talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. But no, we were talking a little bit off air and how back in the day, especially in the early days of the show, we were a lot more analytical in our research and in the product that we gave. And again, at the same time, we started it in 2020 when the team was like really good and was a number one seed and it was a whole thing. It's a lot easier to do it then because it's a lot easier to talk about the analytics when they're not just bad.
It's when it's always bad,
so
bad after bad after bad, and we do have some analytics to get into. We got so much to talk about. One, the Flyers, the way that they've played over the last couple games. When we last left off, we were talking about the upcoming stretch of games, a lot of home games that were coming up, and they had the two games to start the season where they didn't look bad, but obviously 0-1-1 to start the season. Put together a really impressive win against Florida on home ice. Bit of a clunker against Winnipeg, which happens. I mean, that one I was a little surprised just because we've played Winnipeg so well over the years.
Yeah.
But then since that point, they're winners of 4 of their last 5. 2-0 in shootouts. Their last 2 wins coming in shootouts. A tough 2-1 loss against Ottawa, which I had a lot more to say about that game.
Okay.
And I just... You let Lixell beat you.
Mm-hmm. Of all the former Flyers on that team,
let it be Giroux, for God's sake.
Yeah, dude.
Don't let it be Lixell. Oh God.
Yeah.
But there are some things that are really encouraging. Last night, when you all tuned in to watch the Philadelphia Flyers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins, we would all agree going into that night that this rivalry has been dormant for quite some time. The Penguins, won a couple cups in the mid to late 2010s, and the Flyers had been on a downward trajectory. And
I'd say damn near about 10 years. About 2015, I think, was the last time that I really felt like this is a toe to toe. Yeah, that's hard to say that out loud, but go on.
And so, the other thing that I was noticing was in this rivalry, though the Penguins have gotten worse, the rivalry has certainly not been at all exciting. The Flyers haven't exactly gotten better either. So you have here right now, you have 2 teams that seemingly are headed in the same direction in terms of the standings, where they're both not going to be very good. But one team is aging tremendously. The other team is trying to not only be young, but also be fun and competitive. So it doesn't make for very good rivalry nights. And that all turned on its head last night when, for the first time in 10 years, really, the Flyers and Penguins played a game where it felt like it mattered. And it didn't. It's the 9th game of the year that the Flyers were playing, but it felt like it mattered. And they I thought, honestly, outplayed the Pittsburgh Penguins for pretty much the entire game. Midway through the third, the Penguins were able to finally tie up the game. Their goalie, that Silva's guy, was standing on his head against the Flyers. Some incredible saves. Sam Ersson played a very good game against the Penguins. He's also been listed as day-to-day, according to Charlie O'Connor. So we'll see, how that shapes up, because the Flyers do have a 3-game in 4-day stretch coming up. So you'd like to have both of your goalies available. But last night, when the Flyers won in a shootout, it was kind of like I actually breathed heavy for a moment. Like I got excited. I got happy. There was a lot of hits happening. There was brawls and Trevor Zegras getting involved in a brouhaha with everyone. Sidney Crosby got kicked out of the game and couldn't even participate in the shootout. And so It was pretty fun. You know what was also fun, Cameron, was the fact that during that shootout, we could also watch the Washington Capitals play the Dallas Stars. How amazing is this ESPN broadcast where we do not see a single good angle of the offsides that overturned Tyson Forrester's call? We do not see the brawl. And then for the shootout, we're not even allowed to look at that game. We had to look at another game happening at the same time. God bless ESPN.
I didn't know where we were going to end it, right? Because there was a couple talking points there, and I'm just like, I knew we were going to get to the ESPN thing at some point.
But we got to start with this one.
But I was wondering where is he going to land? I don't want to interject because he's captain of the ship right now, and we're going to get somewhere. Disney, you got money, right? There's no reason, there is zero reason why NBC should have a better broadcast than you. Right? I'm not saying that Disney's better than NBC, but Disney has a shitload more money. And when I say Disney, ESPN, you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
The 2-game thing, first of all, which I'm not even going to get into that in a second. The offsides, the game-winning offsides OT goal.
Yes,
right? That didn't happen because it was offsides, and it was.
It was.
I'm not even going to argue that. It was clearly offsides.
When we finally got good angle of it. We finally saw one good angle after they had overturned the call.
How does NBC and NHL Network, they have that angle readily available every game, seemingly. They have the stock image, like the Kentucky Derby race finish thing where it's like they're crossing. Why does ESPN not have that immediately readily available in an overtime game? And you're right. And then you know what? Besides, instead of showing that and giving that the time of day what it's supposed to have, in the last closing seconds of this game, we're going to have a split screen with the beginning 30 seconds of a game that you don't care about because everyone knows the most exciting part of a hockey game is the first 30 seconds less than 10 games into the season. That's must-see television. It's must-see television. While ESPN has a streaming service, by the way, which we all know about, a lot of us pay for, where you can have multiple streams of multiple games where they can all have their own thing. But we're not going to do that. We're going to have a split screen as if you're at some shitty sports book that you aren't at because you're at your own living room. So, dude, I was ready to put my fist through a goddamn wall. And then the brawl breaks out. We're not giving that time of day. This is the most exciting moment. Like, this is that moment. Those last 30 seconds of that game, that overtime period, was what hockey is built for. That is what is the exciting thing. It is what people drive to the sport to see. And ESPN has this prime moment to be like, Pennsylvania rivalry. It's been around for however long. 2 major fan bases. A great game. A throwdown. We can just show this. But no, we got to show, because Alex Ovechkin might get 900 goals, even though he's played like shit for the last 2 weeks.
And God bless that the hockey gods did not reward ESPN last night.
Yeah, because they don't deserve it.
Got shut out.
It was despicable. And then shootout ends. We're gonna go back to full screen.
After it ended, not the Bobby Brink goal is done in split screen. The Matvei Michkov goal is done in split screen. The save to win the game.
But the handshakes, we got it. Everyone needs to see the handshake. We all need to see. Alex Ovechkin, his 900th goal doesn't mean shit compared to this handshake. Dude, I was beside myself.
I couldn't. I just, you take for granted.
Yeah.
You take for granted how good a broadcast can be.
Yeah.
This game 14 years ago would have been on Versus, right?
Yeah.
It would have been on Versus, if not locally televised.
Yep.
The Versus broadcasts with Doc Emmerich did a damn good job.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It was the game. You had the hockey game to look at. And then you had NBC when they did their nationally televised games. Yep. They did a terrific job at broadcasting the games.
Rivalry night. Wednesday night's rivalry night.
Night rivalry night.
The game. All of America tunes in.
You heard the NBC NHL theme and you got pumped up because it was fun. And also, the broadcast was fun. The broadcast style, whether it was Doc Emmerich and Mill. Oh my gosh! Help me out here, Mike.
What? Milbury?
Milbury. Thank you. I almost said Milrow.
Yep.
It's not Milrow. Milbury.
Yeah. Pierre between the grass. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
But like, This ESPN broadcast, and they have had problems now since they brought the NHL back to ESPN.
Yeah. I will say, like, I kind of blame myself a little bit because there was one point where during the overtime, before they split screened it, there was a scoring chance, and I heard the crowd get louder, and I was like, oh, because last year, I don't know if you remember this, last year,
It was
they
the crowd noise was piped down all the way.
Yeah, because they weren't broadcasting from live.
Yeah.
At least some of them. I don't know if they're broadcasting live now or if they just got the hint and they were like, we got to just at least pump it up.
Yeah.
But there was moments where I heard that and I'm like, that's good. Good move, ESPN. That feels good. And then they went to split screen. And I was like, okay, you've learned nothing.
Yeah, I think, it's funny. ESPN treats the NHL so poorly. The NHL gave them all this money and they're getting or ESPN paid this money, but they're not getting anything out of it. I don't know why the NHL is trying to flirt with ESPN. And the fact is that back when we were younger, ESPN did an admirable job of covering the NHL.
Yes.
They had Gary Thorne doing their games, and Gary Thorne's arguably one of the best broadcasters in America. I'm sorry, he's not arguably. He is simply one of the best broadcasters in America.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you could. Yeah, yeah.
But they just don't treat. You would never, and I mean ever. Imagine if when ESPN does their 500 Monday Night Football games all happening at the same time. Imagine if, let's just say it's the Bills and the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and then you have, I don't know, because Bills and Chiefs is like a rivalry now, and then you have, I don't know, Titans and Texans happening 2 hours later, and the Chiefs are going for a game-winning field goal, and they go to split screen because C.J. Stroud's about to take the first snap after a kickoff went for a touchback. There would be so many complaints that ESPN would have to issue an apology. But they don't have to issue an apology because this is the NHL, and no one cares about the NHL, obviously. Well, guess who does care? This show, the people that watch the game, the people that were getting ready to watch the Capitals Stars game, even they were like, just keep it to the Flyers Penguins. Don't worry about us. Like, this game is literally about to end. We can wait 2 extra minutes. So, terrible job on the part of ESPN. And I say this as an admirer of ESPN. I like ESPN's products for the most part. Their E60s, their ESPN 30 for 30s. When they want to put their heart into something, no one does it better than ESPN. Hockey broadcasts, I'm just simply asking for you guys to care. Not the panelists. I understand the analysts, the ones that they hire that played the game, they care. I understand that they care. But the producers, the executive directors of these broadcasts, all I'm asking is that you give a damn about your job. That would be the only thing I would ask for.
Yeah, pretend they care about us. And I will say, too, what added to the adrenaline of this whole thing, getting to the main point of this whole show, was the game.
It was
the game.
It was a fun game. It was a great game.
Yeah, and as you put it up earlier, where it's been so long since there's been a rivalry, or it felt like there was a real rivalry between these two teams, Battle of Pennsylvania, and all that kind of stuff. And how you pointed out brilliantly, like last night felt fun. Last night felt different, right? In terms of that battle, and I couldn't agree more. Like when that brawl started throwing down, one of the reasons I got so angry during the broadcast was because I want to see this, like because I'm juiced now. Like Zekris grabbing whoever it was his head, like dude, it was electrifying. It was electrying. It reminded me of the Washington Capitals brawl in 2014 when Wayne Simmons smacked whoever it was in the face. Like it was that again. And I'll say, like, I'm upset that I showered, and that'll make sense in a second. I showered before I came on the show. Went to work today. I mean, it was Flyers hoodie, Flyers beanie.
Ooh.
It was a post Pittsburgh Penguin game outfit that I have not worn since probably 2014-15, where it was like I want everyone to know where I stand.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember. I forget which game it was. It might have been game 1 of our 2018 playoff matchup with Pittsburgh, which even then, I mean, that's a playoff matchup with Pittsburgh, and I just think the juice in that one just wasn't there because you knew the Penguins were better than the Flyers, certainly.
Yeah.
But that was the game when we lost that game 7-0. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was you or it was someone, because we did our show at Shippensburg, and then you came on, and I had my meltdown about the Flyers after that. You said something about how even after a loss, I think this was you. You said that you can still usually wear your Flyers jersey even after a loss, but it was one such case in which you could not. And that really kind of captures the mood of what Flyers hockey has been for years, where even after, a loss back in the day, you still felt confident being a Flyers fan. Whereas for the last number of years, you have not felt confident being a Flyers fan, and you just don't even want to put up with it. So I think it's awesome that you wore your stuff today. I have thoroughly enjoyed it ever since cold weather season's here. All my summer clothes are away, people. They're all in the crates. They're all gone to the crates. Winter clothes came back out. And my dresser is filled with long-sleeve shirts, jeans, sweatpants, thermals, because I get cold easily. I wear a pair of long johns underneath my jeans. Don't judge me. And the Flyers beanie is making its everyday return, which is important to me. I like this is a good beanie, people.
It is.
I like this one. The logo is large and in charge.
Yeah, classic. Can't go wrong, dude. Can't go wrong.
So, but now let's unpack 9 games in, Cameron. They have a shootout win against the New York Islanders, in which they had to overcome a deficit in that one. Mm-hmm. They weather the storm against a Penguins team that, like I just said, like had been going the other way, but like the Penguins have had a good start to the season. They're 7-2-2 to start the season. And the Flyers have been standing up with pretty much every opponent they've played, with the exception of the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
And they've been youthful, they've been fun, and it was amazing to me that only last night did they get in their first game with at least 30 shots on goal. That I didn't even realize that they hadn't accomplished that yet.
Yes.
The offense has been, at times I've thought, this offense just isn't very good. There's plenty to talk about when it's Matvei Michkov. Last night, I'm pretty sure during the power play in overtime, I mean, the puck just wouldn't stay on his stick. It just kept getting away from him.
Yeah.
There are things to obviously ask about, and hopefully going forward, Michkov, because you see the skill's still there when he's doing in a shootout, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But miraculously, I find myself focusing on goaltending. Shocking, I know. It's not. I never talk about goaltending on this show.
Yeah,
and
go ahead, say it.
Dan Vladar is 4th in the NHL in save percentage at like a .923, which is, he's not a star goalie, people. I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah.
But how about Sam Urson, who has played better over the last couple games?
Yeah.
He had the game against Winnipeg. I texted you and I was like, Vladar stops that. I'm sorry. And you were like, I love that we're already doing this. Right. But even Urson has made some really nice saves. And this defense, which without Cam York to start the season was really not looking good. The defense
no Risto either. Yeah.
Defense has looked better. It's not perfect. And there are plenty of things to not like about the defense. But the defense has looked better. And slowly but surely about the offense, Cameron, the scoring chances are there. The Flyers, as we looked it up, in expected goals for percentage, the Flyers sit at 53.53%, which you hear that and you go, okay, that's only 25th in the NHL. You go to their scoring for percentage, the Flyers are sitting there right there at 12th in hockey.
Yeah.
And then if you look at their I'm sorry, I misspoke. Expected goals for percentage is 9th in the NHL.
I'm gonna say
the goals for percentage is lower, but the expected.
Yes.
So scoring opportunities are there. They're creating chances.
Yep.
They're getting shots in on the net.
Yep.
They're getting goalied a little bit, and maybe some of it also has to do with the fact that they don't have the most amount of talent in hockey. But damn it, Cameron, they are fun right now. This has been fun to watch them so far.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why that statistic. Well, I'll tell you why it both worries me and it makes me very optimistic. So it worries me in the way that they're not getting shots on, obviously, because that translates. But what it's telling me is that they're not forcing things, right? Like a lot of the John Tortorella offense, a lot of the Alain Vigneault offense too before that was all about just peppering shots, get shots on net, generate rebounds, always pressure. And I think I think that's great. I honestly don't like. I'm always a shot on person. I'm not trying to criticize that, but I think the new form of the NHL, right, is a lot more skill based, and it's not as fully reliant on pressure and just high volume. So as a result, I think this is just a reflection of that transition of going from old school hockey of dump the puck in, high pressure, whatever, to take your time, pick your shots, make them count. That is reflected also in terms of guys like Trevor Zegras, when he came over from Anaheim, very similar with him in Anaheim as well, where a lot of his offensive time stayed the same, between his star-studded years in 2023 and the next two where he wasn't playing well. A lot of his zone entries were around the same. A lot of his analytics were the same, but the number wasn't there, and that was because he was taking less shots. He was picking them a little bit more frequently or a little bit more carefully. And I think that's just kind of the same thing here. So optimistically, what that's telling me is that as it grows, more of those opportunities will become available. And therefore, the shots will go up with them, and the scoring will go up with them, too. The other thing, too, is that this is a very, very young team. I wish they were more accurate. They're not, but that'll come as well, right? So a lot of these shots are just not hitting the net at times. Hopefully, they'll start to as they get more accurate and as they get better. But I'll be honest, in terms of, it just seems to me like they're being smarter with the puck.
Yep.
And the more they focus on that, the volume will come with it. Because by focusing on being smart with the puck means you're going to have more control with the puck. And more control with the puck means more time with the puck. And more time with the puck means more shots with the puck. So on and so forth. So I'm optimistic about it. However, at the same time, I do want to see those numbers go up, though.
Yes.
Because I'm expect when I watch a hockey game, I'm expecting 30 goals on. I'm expecting 10 shots on goal, period. Really. And if you're doing a little bit less than that, it's like, that's not great. Let's try to pump those numbers up. At the same time, don't force it, which I'm glad they're not. Because it's working. But I want to see those numbers up. But at the same time, I'm not freaking out. I if anything, it shows that they're trusting the system that they have. And, and also the results are showing that they should be trusting the system that they have. So that's how I feel about that.
So let's talk about who you mentioned, like, that this is a new process and getting their opportunities, not forcing anything, but getting their opportunities and trying to make them count when they get their opportunities. There's been a couple guys so far this season that I wanted to specifically highlight. Sean Couturier's looked good this season.
Point per game.
He's looked point per game. Trevor Zegras is a point per game player right now as well for the Flyers, and he's looked good.
Okay. I'm gonna just knock on wood. I wanted to text you this like a couple days ago, but I thought to myself, I was like, if this is point per game Trevor Zegras we're getting, this rebuild's a lot further along
than
we think it is.
Yeah. It's a good point.
I mean, you're talking, and I'm not exaggerating. You're talking number one center numbers.
You're talking about both of our top centers are point per game players right now.
Playing great.
That's incredible.
Playing great.
We'll see, how will they weather lows and how will they, be able to come back from that. But like that's a great start.
Don't do this. Sorry.
Don't do it unless you're going to do it. If you're going to do it to me, do it to me. But don't do it to me if you're not going to do it to me.
You said it. You said it.
So those are two guys that I want to highlight that are the good.
Yeah.
There's a standout, though, in this. And his numbers aren't eye-popping. But Bobby Brink deserves to be talked about.
Yeah.
I'm not just – and forget the shootout goal. He's getting chances, Cameron. He's working the boards. He's getting loose pucks. He's making crisp passes. I think maybe like a year and a half ago, I don't know when it was on the show, I said something about Brink, and I said, you look at a guy like Bobby Brink, and you just think, okay, you fill out your fourth line maybe with this guy, but he's not going to be here for the long haul. And this guy's making me think this guy might be here for a little bit longer than just, the short haul of it.
Yeah.
On that line with Noah Cates especially, it has been terrific. Last year, that line of Brink and Cates and I believe who was it? Was it Foerster? The other one, was it last year? Was it Foerster or I'm trying to think who else it was.
Yep.
And Foerster too. I'm not going to be talking about him too much, but I'm going to quickly say Foerster's been playing great.
I was going to say, if you look at the stat sheet again, like the reason you're bringing up Noah Cates is because he's third in the stat sheet right now with 7 points, right behind him. Or Brink, 7 points. Right behind him is Noah Cates and Tyson Foerster with 6.
And
that whole line is team high. Ridiculous.
Foerster with a team high as a +6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Foerster's long reach. But this isn't about Tyson Foerster, although I love Tyson Foerster.
He's playing great. Yeah, and he deserves his praise. Yes.
Brink was seen as kind of like the for lack of a better term, the ugly duckling of the three. Cates was the pleasant surprise.
You could say that. Yeah.
He's a good grinder on the boards. He can create opportunities. He creates chances. Foerster is seen as maybe the higher talent that could fly a little higher. He's got a great snipe. Brink was seen as more of like he's got to work a little harder to get his. And he's worked harder, and he's showing that he's got plenty of talent. These guys have shown that they have talent. And then and if you want to talk about the shootout goal, Pretty. I'm sorry Sidney Crosby couldn't be on the bench to see that kind of a shootout goal. But that was pretty.
I love I love how you can't help yourself. I will say, as soon as that happened, I was just like, "Oh, they're losing a big one." And as soon as I said that, they were like, "And Zegras is also going." I was like, "All right, well." Like,
but here, by the way, NHL.
No, it was beautiful. Like I didn't do like, who's this guy? 3 moves? Bobby Brink 3. He did 3. Like, honestly, on the third one, I was like, I kind of like threw my hands up. I was like, damn, because I thought like, there's no way he's going to be.
I thought he was out of room too. I was like,
I thought for sure it was done, but no, man, no.
And let me also just say,
the
NHL rules are dumb. So I understand Zegras and Crosby get 10-minute misconducts. They can't participate in the shootout. Last I checked, Evgeny Malkin had committed a penalty that was going to take up the rest of overtime. I don't care that it was a minor. He took a penalty. You should not be rewarded by taking a penalty and then be able to participate in the shootout. Yeah. If you commit a penalty, misconduct, major or minor, and it goes past overtime, you should not be allowed to participate in the shootout.
I agree. And before I go into Bobby Brink, I want to say this too. I know he's hated. I know Philadelphia Flyer fans hate Evgeny Malkin too. But I'm just saying, for the people out there that we hate Crosby, if you hate Crosby more than Malkin, you're hating the wrong guy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no justification at this point.
None.
If you want,
I can't stand that guy. Like on top, like not even on top of like, oh, he's annoying because he's good. He is good. He's a dirtbag. I mean, the guy has swung his stick open-handed multiple times at multiple players. He's a dirtbag, and he's always getting away with shit. The league just suddenly is just fine with it. Shout out to Braden Coburn, who just mopped the floor with him back in 2012, who just was not having his shit. I can't stand that dude. I really can't. Like, of all the players in the league, Evgeny Malkin's probably my least favorite person.
If you hate Crosby more than Malkin, let me just present it to you like this. If you're a Philadelphia sports fan, all 4 for 4, you hate the Dallas Cowboys, right? You hate them because that's just a team that you hate. You also probably hate war criminals, Stalin, and that guy from Germany and all that stuff, right? Who do you hate more in these cases? Probably the war criminals, right?
Yeah.
Evgeny Malkin is them.
Yeah. And Crosby's the Dallas Cowboys, who's very hated too. But like, he's hated because the jersey he's wearing.
Different levels of hate.
Yeah. He's not hated because the person he is. He's hated because he's just wearing that sweater. Malkin, I dislike the person. I dislike the person.
There's nothing. I honestly, I'm sure Malkin has done good things for the city of Pittsburgh. I'm sure I could pull up several articles. Sure, he does things for Chop.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure of it. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
He does. We've seen photos of him in hospitals. Okay, all right. So maybe he's a fine guy.
I'm going to make a proclamation. Crosby cares about the work that he does in Pittsburgh. I believe that. I believe he is a charitable person. Malkin, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares at all.
But no, so to Bobby Brink though.
Yeah.
In all seriousness. Back to the whole I could talk about Malkin all day long. I'm not even kidding.
You know what?
We could just go on YouTube and I could just go through. It doesn't matter.
That 2012 playoff series, baby. I could rewatch those highlights all the time.
But there are so many. Like back to the Stadium series when Travis Konechny was calling him out for using his stick as a 2x4 back then. Like whatever. Anyway. Letang's dirty too. Anyway.
Oh, you got to talk about Brink. I'm going to get on a whole tangent about
we got to stop.
I can't talk about Crystal Tang. God, I hate that guy.
Sorry. All right. But no, shout out though to Joe DiMarini of Broad Street Hockey when we were doing the top 25 under 25s. He had me on. We talked about Bobby Brink, and he put up a very, very good point too. He's a big Brink guy, as is Ryan Gilbert as well, of the Broad Street Hockey or Broad Street Radio podcast. Big Brink people. But they brought up good points where they're like, hey, man, he hits 40 points a year as a third-line winger. Is that terrible?
No.
And it's like, no. And also on top of that, where you put it as like, oh, he might be the ugly duckling or whatever. Because, like, as of last year, it's like everyone loved Foerster. Everyone really loved Cates. And Brink was there. He's playing very, very good. He's playing good, and we like him. But he's like, hey, he's just sort of there. We can take him or leave him kind of thing. But the thing is, like, even if he plays really, really well, and it means that he's a great trade bait for something else later on in the future, that's awesome too. Bobby Brink's great to have on the team right now for both of those reasons. However, if he can turn into this 50-point bottom 6 winger, brother, I'm fine with that. I'll live with that. That is completely fine with me. Right? That's what you need. That's a utility type of player that you need. That's a type of player that's going to win you a championship. Not fully on the stat sheet, but they do the dirty shit. Like I'm thinking of Alex Killorn, Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Solid winger, not a point per game player, but he's needed on your team. He makes a big impact. That could be Bobby Brink here.
Currently, Bobby Brink is projected at an 82-game pace, 27 goals, 36 assists. You can't go by this.
I know. I love going by
27 goals,
it,
36 assists, 64 points. That's like a guy you give like a $6 million AAV contract to right there.
Yeah.
There was so many things. There were so many things about last night that were just enjoyable. The fact that they beat the Penguins was the chief among them. The fact that it felt like a rivalry. The fact that the stadium looks rejuvenated in the fans with the fans in the. It makes me want to be there. Like I want to go to a game. Like I'm looking at the calendar. I'm like, when can I fit in a game? When can I just go down there and just sit by myself and enjoy a Flyers game?
Yep.
And I think that we owe a lot of this early on to Coach Tocchet. I think Rick is early on. He's not saying a ton. He's not like, he's not a firecracker like John Tortorella is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. As Piccolo decides to hijack the podcast.
I thought I heard him. I was like, what? And then I saw his tail. But yeah, no. Yeah. But he's not the firecracker, but yeah.
It feels like he's It feels like he's a calming presence for this team. And I think that there's respect in that, and I just think that there just wasn't the same respect for Torts last year. And again, I'm saying the word I think. To so many listening, it would be obvious, right? It'd be like, well, it's obvious they didn't respect Tortorella. But I wasn't in the locker room, so I'm not going to necessarily speak to that.
Exactly.
But what I will say is that this team looks very fun. They look very young. They look quick. And there's a lot to like about the Flyers right now. And like it also, do you guys not all get a little disappointed that they're not playing tonight? Do you not all get a little disappointed that you got to wait till tomorrow at 7 for them to play Nashville, and you got to wait again? Point. Yeah, like you just want the games. They have a Who here is excited they have a back-to-back coming up? When have I ever said, "Oh my God, the Flyers have a back-to-back"? Yes, been waiting for that.
That's a great point. Like. I checked my fantasy hockey lineup today, and I saw there was only one game happening, and I was like, and I audibly was like, huh?
Yeah,
I was like, that's kind of boring.
I wanted to watch other hockey. That's what we talk about as like it's a secondary goal. We all want to see the Flyers win the Cup. We all want to see the Flyers just be a great team again. That's what we truly desire.
Right.
The other thing that we want to do is we just want to enjoy hockey, and it's a fair thing to say that you enjoy hockey a lot more when your team's doing great. I love the Philadelphia Eagles, and I enjoy watching football, but I really enjoy watching football when my Philadelphia Eagles are really good.
Right.
And I'm going to enjoy football this Sunday, Cameron. No Eagles. They won before the bye. The best win other than winning a playoff game or Super Bowl is the win before the bye week. The best thing in the world. I get to be one, and now I don't have to see those suckers now for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you get to just sit pretty. Yep. I get to watch Miami lose to Baltimore prime time right before theirs.
Listen. Maybe Lamar will be a little rusty coming back.
He's not going to be rusty.
He's not going to be rusty.
He's not. He's not.
What would you take for Bradley Chubb?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. And I know
want him. I would like I would like a Bradley Chubb, please.
I'd like for you guys to have him. Of all the places to go, but dude, I don't. It's mayhem. It's mayhem. I would love to get into it, but at the same time, I don't even know what I can say anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm just exhausted.
I know.
With the Miami Dolphins, as every Miami Dolphin fan out there is. But speaking of problems, though, I do want to say, because vibes have been high, Philadelphia hockey-wise. But I do want to bring up some of the problems. If we don't,
Yeah, sure. Let's
one
talk
of which
about
being
with the good, with the bad. Wait. Do you want to go to commercial and then come back and we'll talk about the problems?
We can do that.
Let's do that. You're listening to the Fly Guys podcast. Cameron Klein. My name's Justin Goodhart. Back in just a minute. Talk about the problems though that linger with the Philadelphia Flyers. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Fly Guys podcast. Cameron Klein and Justin Goodhart talking about it. It was a fun first half of this show, talking about how great the Flyers have been and how fun that's been.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, let me tell you, you can't have it good forever. The
Well,
pendulum
yeah.
always swings the other way.
Well, because
Cameron,
we do this a lot.
yeah, we do.
Like you and I do this a lot, but all sports fans, all Philadelphia Flyer fans, Philly fans, Flyer fans, separate, both same, all do this a lot. Where they're winning, get the parade train going. Let's go. Get the parade train going. Let's block off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
We're winning everything.
I'm already getting it tattooed on my arm.
Right, naturally.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, okay, we have to at least talk about the things that are going not great, because this is, again, a rebuilding team. And the first thing that popped into mind was the third pair defense. We've been juggling, right? Emil Andre got caught up again. Okay, so he's going to be back up there. Evidently, Tuckett not a fan of the Ginning, Yulson, Zamula juggling line.
No.
And I'm with him, because it doesn't really. There just never seems to be any, regardless of the pairing, it feels like a nothing line. They're not doing anything that's like egregiously bad, but they're not driving play. They're not. It's just sort of like they're filling it for now because Risto and Bonk are hurt.
Yep.
Which makes me a little nervous, especially considering it's hockey and you don't really know how long people are going to be hurt for, and we don't fully know what's going on. 4 to 6 weeks for Ristolainen, maybe more for Bonk. We have no idea. But ideally, it's like you'd like to have that third line fully figured out, and maybe it could help some of the defensive woes that they've been having. But it is something, and we got to talk about it.
Last night, when I think it was right before the Penguins tied the game, the fourth line was getting hemmed in. This is their own zone, and out there, I'm pretty sure was when it was Zamula and Jolson were out there. I think it was, and if it wasn't, I feel like I should be forgiven for getting that wrong, just because we've noticed it so much with Jolson and with Zamula. I don't know why I thought Zamula would be able to drive play a little bit better. He just, offensively, it is what it is. You can't expect a defender to be such a driver. But those Zamula specifically, he just has trouble getting out of his own zone when it's a really aggressive forecheck from any other team, good or bad. He struggles mightily with getting the puck out of the zone, and that's only kind of a problem if you're going to be a defender, aka the last line of defense before the goalie's got to deal with a shot on goal.
And not just that, though, but they're transitioning more to this carrying in type of offense where they're not pumping and chasing, and it's like those neutral zone interceptions, they're going to kill you. They're going to kill you.
I don't know if it's like, I don't know if you would describe it as like the slingshot, how they try to do that like on the power play. But yeah, the neutral zone has been a problem with when they try to move through the transitional ice. And I think that, I mean, none of us, I don't think anyone here is sitting here thinking like, oh yeah, Emil Andre will clean that up. No, I don't think there's any chance of that happening. But, ultimately, if you're already a team that isn't the most talented in the NHL, and the Flyers already don't have enough talent to win in this league, you need your defense to be able to at least be sound and make smart plays. I can live with I can live with the fact that Zamula is not more talented than Sidney Crosby working up against the boards. What I can't live with is the careless turnovers, the poor puck dumps, just not like, it's just not like well executed. And Jolson specifically, I take particular issue with some of the things that he's done. He averages 13 minutes of ice time, and honest to God, there are times where I notice him a little too much. For 13 minutes, I shouldn't be noticing him that much.
Yeah, no, you should. I mean, like, it's Yulson is what he is. He's a depth defenseman. He, He's 29?
He's 28.
28, yeah. He's never played more than 15 minutes a season for more than 40 games. Like he is what he is. He is what he is. Like, and I get it, because of injuries, that's why he's in the lineup. But like you said, you have to find something where it's not a major detriment. where you're not able to do anything whatsoever. And I think and that line has been. And when you're building on something where they seemingly have an opportunity to do that early on in the year, where it could really help you out later out, you got to have something there, and you got to mix it up somehow. And Yolson, we're picking on as just one guy, but
also, like, to get back on Zamula, remember over the offseason, the Flyers,
he's the one.
He got a 2-year extension. He was given a 2-year contract, so the Flyers believed in his abilities. He's 25. He should be, he's going to reach at this point, like at 25, you kind of reach who you're going to be.
Yeah.
And the early returns on this season is that Yegor Zamula is just as average as a sunny day.
He's a Yolson.
He's a Yolson. And that stinks, because I think the Flyers were expecting more out of him.
Oh, 100%.
That's not enough. It's
100%. Yeah.
But you also mentioned injuries, Cameron, and there are some injuries we do need to go over real quick. Firstly, today, Sam Ursan was listed as day-to-day. Officially, I'm trying to bring it up now, actually, there isn't like a description put in. I did see it from Charlie O'Connor earlier on Blue Sky that he was listed as day-to-day. And again, we'll monitor that. I mentioned that earlier. Hopefully, he'll be good to go, because the Flyers are going to want him for a 3 games and 4-day stretch they have coming up. So there's that aspect, but also Rasmus Ristolainen,
as we've known,
as of October 27th, is still 4 to 6 weeks away from returning to the lineup.
Yep.
Kind of a problem. And so we're not going to get him anytime soon. So we will not see Ristolainen until really
early December is what they're saying.
Yeah, after Thanksgiving, hopefully we'll have the chance to see Risto.
Yeah.
And then Oliver Bonk, who there was question as to whether he might make the team. He might be an active part of this roster this year. He is seen as a big-time prospect that is supposed to be a blue chip on the blue line.
Yes.
And all we have from Charlie O'Connor is that Danny Briere said that, he's progressing in his recovery. There's no timeline for Oliver Bonk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the defense isn't getting reinforcements in the way that we would hope anytime soon, is what we've basically been told.
Yes. And essentially, like, too, from how I heard with the Oliver Bonk thing, it was both of them at the same time, Risto and him. And I heard, well, Risto's about 4 to 6 weeks. And how it's been reported past that is Risto's 4 to 6 weeks and Bonk is most likely more. But, like, that's it. I don't know how much more. Don't know if that means 7 weeks. No idea. But evidently, whatever it is going on with him is going to be even longer of a recovery.
And with that, and once you reach that point, Cameron, there's no, he's not going to make him an impact on the season then, because he will not have had time to practice. He will not have had time to get adjusted to the NHL speed, which this would have been his first year really with the team. And so
even AHL time you want him to get, it's so important. I mean, this is
prime developing. This is developing time. And when you're sitting, and listen, we're not knocking Bonk for what it's worth, but when you're not able to get those reps in, it delays that development. And ultimately, we need guys like that healthy, because again, he is seen as a blue chip. You know that a Flyer is going to be popular with the crowd and going to be an important player to this piece when after he's drafted, like the next day he's thrown out the first pitch at a Phillies game. Like that's, Bonk comes in with some pedigree. So not having him, that sucks. And it just leads this defense to, it feels incomplete. And it feels like that we're not really seeing what the future looks like outside of Zeke. Or no, I'm sorry, I almost said Zegras. Outside of Drysdale, who we continue to watch closely. York, looking for a bounce-back year. Sanheim, can he finally be just consistently good?
Dude.
That's the big thing with him.
Yeah.
So the Flyers' defensive situation, it's lean, to say the least.
Yeah, and when you brought up with Zamula and Yulson, where it's like these guys aren't play drivers, yada, yada, whatever, that's what they ultimately need and ultimately want, especially on the power play. They've been saying that for years. That's who they kind of been hoping Jamie Drysdale turns into. We'll get into that in a second. We don't know if that's going to be the case. But Oliver Bonk, just for those out there, and we brought it up before plenty of times, 40 points with the London Knights last year as an alternate captain, 14 and 17 games in the playoffs, and then he went right from there to the World Junior Canada under 20, where he had 2 points in 5 games as a defenseman for Team Canada.
Good.
And he's 20 years old. The kid's a great player. Like he can be that play driving defenseman that you need him to be. In fact, if you develop him right, he will be guaranteed So it's like that's why. Not that I'm worried, but it's like one of those things where it's like right now is this prime opportunity for him to get some pro hockey experience under his belt. He's 20.
Mm-hmm.
This is perfect. This is great. And right when you're about to get started, there's a little bit of a speed bump. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. We saw it with Ryan Ellis for 4 games. We need it. God, please, God.
Just remember how this all started, too. Oliver Bonk, he started with the rookie camp. He sustained an upper body injury. He was called day to day.
Exactly. That's the other thing with hockey. God.
Day to day.
Ryan Ellis, week to week. It's been year to year, bro. Haven't seen him. Which again, hearing what possibly was the issue, I don't.
What was it again? What was the muscle? What was it?
Psoas muscle.
And
yeah,
because I remember that was when I first learned about it through you, and you basically told me like, if it's that, no, he is done.
Yeah, if they haven't fixed it now, yeah. I felt like honestly, I hope he's okay. Like that sucks. That is a debilitating injury that could linger for the rest of his life, and I hope it doesn't. But like, yeah, you as a fan of the team, it's like you saw what you could have, and it's this major impact, and that's kind of who you wanted Bonk. That's who, not even kind of, that is who we want Bonk to be, and because that's what he can be. And just seeing his first professional stint of hockey not go off immediately sucks, and then the defense sucks. So the defense has been playing great, so that stinks too. And then for Risto, like you're saying, it's like you have this play-driven defense in which the Flyers want, which we need. We can't have him, and they have Risto, who's the other thing, which is just a stable guy who can just defend now. Is he overpaid? Yes, but he can still do his job. You need that too, and they don't have either of those. And theoretically, you have that on this defense. You have a full three pairs of defensive lines that you have a full hockey team.
You have one, and let's make sure we're clear. We have one hockey line that we're pretty confident in right now. We have second defensive line where you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like, and we have a third, it's fine. I'd like more. But.
And we have a third line where if you're in a playoff game and that's your third line, that's unplayable.
Yeah.
That's
they're getting 8 minutes. They're getting 8 minutes, and everyone else is getting 20, 25.
That's where Sanheim has to play 27 minutes in a game.
Yeah.
But so speaking of one of those players, though, Jamie Drysdale is a player that is going to be under the radar big time this year. This year, through 9 games, he's got 3 assists. He's a -1. He's averaging 22 minutes of ice time, which is third on the team behind Cam York and Travis Sanheim. So quite a lofty responsibility that Jamie Drysdale is being given. And Cameron, Jamie Drysdale is a defenseman. His job is to defend the Blues, the blue line, the neutral zone.
Yeah.
But he's also got offensive capabilities.
Yeah.
Those offensive capabilities have been extremely hit or miss. His defense has been hit or miss. And when he's having a good game, you just know when you're watching a good Jamie Drysdale game. And when he's having a bad game, you definitely know that he's having a bad game. There has not, in my opinion, been a whole lot of nuanced in between where he's not, he's just doing his job. He's either it feels like it's a really good night or it feels like a really bad night for him. And I just think that he's 23. People forget he's 23. When the Flyers traded for him, he was only 21. But we are also reaching a point where we need to really start seeing some more effectiveness out of him.
Yes.
Because I thought when we traded our top prospect for him, you would have thought that this guy had 1D potential. And the Flyers shoehorned him into that kind of role, and it clearly didn't work out. So now he's in, he's a top 4 blue liner for the Flyers.
Right.
But even in that particular role, he's got all this potential in the world, and it's just not showing. It's not showing. Yeah. And that stinks.
And maybe the him either playing poorly or playing great is us looking at him under a microscope. Could be. But there was just so much riding on him. They gave rid of Cutter. Yep. It was a big thing. It was a big price. As much as he didn't want to play here and the Flyers' hands were tied, there's a lot riding on Jamie Drysdale. And The thing is, too, is like for me, I don't even need him to be a number one defenseman. And I think a lot of Flyers fans don't either. I think they want him to be a top four, like you said. But they want to be a top four and also a power play driver.
Mm-hmm.
A play driver. That's it. And he hasn't been that. I said this all the time back in the day with Shane Gostisbehere. I'm all for a puck-moving offensive defenseman. But if you're not going to be scoring, then that means you're not defending too. What are you to me? And I don't want to feel that way about Jamie Drysdale. And I said that about Gostisbehere prematurely, and it was more of the situation the Flyers had him in than I would say on him.
Yeah.
But that being said, I need to see it though. If you're not scoring, or at least driving play, you got to be doing something. Because if you're not doing that, you're doing nothing. And we didn't give up Cutter Gauthier for nothing, right?
And not to drive home the point, but Cutter's had a good start to the year with Anaheim.
Let's be honest. We knew it was coming. Like, we all clowned on him last year, but it was his first year. We knew he was going to be at least a serviceable player. And he will be.
6 goals in his first 8 games.
Here he comes.
Yeah, I mean, here he comes.
It sucks. It sucks. You need Drysdale to be that guy. I will say, though, if he ends up being just the guy who brought Trevor Zegras over here and Zegras turns out to be the guy, then all right.
It works, and it's
it helped out. It helped. But,
I
want more out of him, though, too. So, yeah, that's it.
And then offensively...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Michkov, kind of like our medicine for the Cutter Gauthier situation.
Yeah.
1 goal, 2 assists in 9 games. Last night, I actually thought, and I don't mean this as an insult towards him, because I love the kid, and I do believe he's going to be a very good player.
Yeah.
He sucked last night. He just did.
I think he's trying to do too much.
He's so forcing it. He's forcing it all, and you feel for him because I truly just think, and I'm not saying he needs to score 5 goals in a game, but man, I think he needs to just see a couple go in one game where he got to use his skill set and just let it and that it came naturally. He needs it so badly. And I just, I don't know if it's going to have to come against a really bad team. They're playing the Predators tomorrow. Predators aren't all that good, but the Predators also, they got a goalie. So tomorrow, we'll see, if he can kind of get going. But, man, it just looks so forced. It looks so hard for him right now.
Yeah.
And it stinks. It stinks for him because this is the moments in your career where they're not only inevitable, but it's about how you escape it. And last night the puck's hopping over his stick, and he's he can't handle a pass from behind the net, and his passes aren't really that crisp and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, my boy, what have they done to my boy?
No, I think you nailed it. I think he's trying to do too much. I think he's just an ultra competitive person. He knows he's in this slump. He wants to get out of it. And when you grip the stick a little bit harder, it doesn't make it easier. You gotta have to. It's like Chinese handcuffs. You got to take the pressure off a little bit to make it work.
Just can't keep pulling, guys. You gotta put it in a little bit. Then you can remove it.
But I'm really not worried with Michkov. Ironically, as I just went on a rant of how I'm worried about Jamie Drysdale, but I'm really not worried about Michkov because I think it will come because I see that in him. And we saw it in his shootout goal last night. It looked crisp. It looked nice. It looked exactly what you expected out of a kid like that. But no, it sucks. But at the same time, long term, I'm not worried. I bring it up all the time, but Claude Giroux in 2014 didn't score for the first 17 games of the year or whatever, and then he ended up being a point per game player. So ultimately, I think it'll work out. And I'm so glad you brought up the Nashville Predators as well, because that brings me to one of my points I wanted to bring up. FanDuel, anytime goal scorer, Matthew Michkov, plus 260 tomorrow.
Ooh, you got to take that.
He's gonna get out of the slump at some point. It's gonna happen. He's gonna score a goal at some point. Why not throw down $10 and win 25?
I agree.
Just saying. But no, I agree with you though. I think it's gonna be like pressure of a powder keg. Like one day he's gonna score either a hat trick or he's gonna get a 4-point game, and then it's just gonna he's going to go on like a 10-game point streak, in my opinion. I kind of think that's what's going to end up happening with him. I'm really not too worried. And what's nice is that the rest of the team is playing well too, to help him out, take the pressure off a little bit for a kid. He's only 20.
Mm-hmm.
He'll figure it out. He's just got to take a little bit of pressure off himself, and I think he'll be fine. But
I'd also like to make mention Claude Giroux, 2013-2014, 86 points in 82 games. Went the first 16 games without a goal.
Yeah. Top three in points that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he finished third in Hart voting. Not like that time he finished fourth in Hart voting when he had a 102-point season.
We can't.
I know we can't. I know.
But dude, by the way, Ottawa, like I know he's an old dog. But the truly great players are the ones where it's like, even though they get older, you still see the flashes. And you still see these little things where it's like, oh yeah, you can't sleep on them. That Ottawa game, there were so many points where I'm like, this son of a bitch.
He vindicated you. Of all, I knew that Giroux was still good, but I didn't beat the drum as hard as you did about Giroux.
He directed all of their power plays. If you rewatch that game, he directed all the power plays. It was him. It was Giroux, and like Giroux would do this thing that like it reminded me of Rantanen when I was watching his whole thing why he didn't work out in Carolina last year.
Yeah,
where Giroux would do this thing where he would just by being him, skating in a certain direction, the whole defense would shift, and he knew that. It's amazing. Sorry, this isn't a Claude Giroux episode.
Well, no, but when the trade deadline approaches and we can bring him back, then we can make it a whole Claude Giroux. We can do we'll do like a whole Stanley's court. Why we should bring back Claude Giroux? I'll let you argue in court over that one.
I understand all the reasons why not to. Of like, it's a new team. You don't want to bring in an old captain, and those are all logical, sound reasons. I agree with them 100%. But the little boy in me is just like, bring Dad home. I don't care. I want to see him again, please. But no, I agree with you.
It's been 5 years since he went out for cigarettes, and he still hasn't come home.
Yeah, well, he went out for a Stanley Cup, but hasn't found that either. Sorry. Ottawa?
He has to be traded to the wrong team.
Well, he was off by a year.
He was off. He was actually the problem. That's why they didn't.
Yeah, because no leadership ability. Sorry,
but and then so we talk about two guys that are currently on the Flyers that give us a little bit of pause, but some concern still on Drysdale.
Yep.
That is pretty warranted. And then the Michkov concern is more of like we just kind of wish that he was hopping out of it, but the concern is still at a lower level at this point. Now we talk about a guy who is not on the Flyers at this point, and we have yet to see him even get his first NHL point. Jett Luchanko was sent down yet again. And now I have a question. Now I have a genuine question. I texted Cameron, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your concern at this point for Luchanko? And I said, I'm like around a 6, just because I think that it would be so premature for me to give anything higher than that. And it would almost be like me just intentionally sounding alarms when there's maybe not a reason to be doing that. Cameron, your answer was kind of like multifaceted, where you gave 2 answers. And if I may.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I will say this was before I saw that he got sent down again.
Yeah, I think I don't actually know if I sent it to you before or after.
It was like right around. Yeah, okay. I can't remember either. I think it was
after. I think I saw the news and then I texted you.
Okay.
Relative to him, you said relative to him overall as a player, you're like 4 out of 10. You're like, so that's not very right. Relative to where he was drafted, 8 out of 10. And thus lies the great question. The old talking point was the Flyers reached for this guy, and he's played 12 games or whatever, how many games it's been in his NHL career, and we have seen really not a lot. And he's been sent down again, and there's no reason to think he's going to be coming back up anytime soon. And so, Cameron, like Luchanko, this is a situation in which a rebuilding team needs to hit on their first-round picks. Like this, this isn't an option. You have to hit on draft picks. It is so unbelievably important. And Luchanko not being able to stick with the team, and not just not being able to stick with the team, but honestly, just not even looking like he belongs on the ice with the rest of the team once the regular season started, that's worrying. That is a problem.
Yep.
Not even a point. You can't even get a secondary assist. That is worrying to me. And why I'm really beginning to just get this bad feeling of like, oh my God, Is this a Jay O'Brien? Is this a German Rubtsov? Is this a Morgan Frost or Joel Farabee? But at least with Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, they were producing.
Right. And he might get to that point where he reaches a Morgan Frost or Joel Farabee level. However, that's not good enough. That's not good enough for 13th overall.
No.
You want more. They might have reached on him. We still don't fully know, but it looks that way right now.
Mm-hmm.
As of October 29th, 2025 at 6:40 p.m., it looks that way. It looks like they reached on him. However, at the same time, what concerns me more on top of all of this, it just, I guess, adds to the layer of it, is how they're handling him. He's a reach to begin with, which I think you have to be very, very delicate with. You got to develop him right. If you develop him right, it might not be a reach within a year. You might have actually got a steal. But this whole, the Flyers knew, right? They knew he would either had to be on the Flyers or was back to the OHL. They didn't want him going back to the OHL because they wanted him to get professional experience, but we knew we couldn't send him down to the AHL. We couldn't send him down to the Phantoms. And I think this was a mismanagement because I think this is where I get nervous. If you thought that he was going to be there, you thought he was going to be available, why sign Christian Dvorak? Why trade for Trevor Zegras, 2 centers?
Mm-hmm.
If you thought he was going to be fully ready to go. So I don't know if you really did fully think he was ready to go. You wanted him to compete.
It's obvious they didn't. It's obvious they didn't think that. Then.
You wanted him to compete, which is totally understandable. I'm all for that. I'm not a Kolosov mindset of just like you can walk over here. It's the same reason why they got rid of Cutter Gauthier.
Mm-hmm.
You got to compete. You got to earn your spot. I'm all for that. But you know the situation he's in. You know you don't want him playing OHL minutes. It's just weird. It's just handled poorly. Ryan Gilbert wrote an article for Broadchurch Hockey today, just detailing the situation, did a great job. He brought up a very good point where he was like, they could have loaned him to the Phantoms. Now, granted, he would have to stay up in the AHL for a certain number of days, and they can only go to the AHL for 14 days. You only be able to play there for 2 weeks. However, it'd be something. It'd be professional. It'd be playing large minutes of professional hockey, which is the reason why Danny Briere sent him down to begin with, because he's like, well, he's up here. He's not playing large minutes. We don't want to waste him while he's up here. You kind of already are, Danny.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of not holding him out for another couple of days to get him some professional experience at the AHL level before fully sending him back to the OHL or figuring out what else you wanted to do with him? It just seems like by not knowing, which isn't a crime in and of itself, but by not knowing, you're further hurting the development of a guy who was a reach to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary. That should be concerning to Flyers fans.
It absolutely should be.
And like you said, they don't have a great track record of developing these guys. At least not recently.
They don't. I'm trying. I genuinely try to remember like who the last first round pick that we've successfully developed. Is it Coots?
A first round pick? Dude, I don't know. I have to go into my research. I can't remember when TK was drafted.
No, let's see. I think Konechny was a first round pick actually.
There were guys who like they've drafted that aren't on the team, like Braden Shen, you know.
Well, they traded for Shen.
Yeah, that's right. He was drafted by the Kings. I forget. Yeah, the Coots was the part of that. Yeah. Okay.
Konechny was a first round pick. So pretty good.
There you go. All right.
There's one. Great. Travis Sanheim.
Oh, never mind then. Luchanko will be fine.
Sanheim was a 17th overall pick. And it's like, well, he's a
great player.
He is a good player.
Yeah.
A little inconsistent though.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm good.
So all right. So much more recent than Couturier. That would be a bit of an overstatement by me to say no one. But at the same time, take the last 5 years. The sample gets. We did a whole thing on this.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately my concern is the fact that if you're hopping from OHL to NHL, the stark contrast in style of play and competitiveness isn't even worth debating. It's barely worth bringing up to begin with. It should go without being said. So what kind of development, as Cameron alluded to, are we really doing for this kid? I'm surprised with such a delicate spoken approach that Briere and Keith Jones mention. I'm surprised that they so brazenly did this.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just say this. It would make sense for two reasons in my head. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat. It makes sense if you think you messed up and you don't believe in the kid. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, which is what we're all ignoring, right? Like we don't. It's right there. Yeah, yeah.
So the second reason why it could potentially make sense is if he simply lost the competition. Like he lost out, not for reasons of him not playing well. He just Dvorak and Zegers. How are we going to play him over them?
True, but if that happened,
second reason is not as sound as the first reason.
Because in my opinion, if that was the reason, he would have been gone already.
Yeah.
It just seems like they don't fully know, or like you said, they do know and they know they made a mistake.
Yeah,
that sucks. I like your analogy, too, of going back and forth between the OHL and AHL. For all my HVAC people out there, throwing this out there, for also just some common HVAC knowledge, because I used to be in the industry. If you turn your system off during, cold seasons or whatever, because you're like, well, we're not using it. When you go to turn it on, it's going to use way more energy to kickstart itself back on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to possibly burn out your unit over time. By going back and forth between the AHL and NHL, you're basically turning an air conditioning unit on from completely off to, hey, I want it to be 62 in a 90-degree day.
Yeah, exactly. OHL to that's such a good comparison.
OHL you're gonna burn it out. The unit's gonna get burned out, people.
Here's how you took it from you took your window unit that's been in the attic for 20 years, shoved it in the big living room, and you put it on 60. That's what you did.
Just blasted, right?
Yeah. So I don't know what their answer for Luchanko is going to be, but I do know that sending him down is incredibly discouraging, and it just you know what? So then, if we get into next training camp, and I'm not hearing and I'm not seeing it with my eyes, don't even go to the season with him.
He's
gauge
done.
The trade market.
Yeah,
get something.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the time to waste on this. You're rebuilding. You do not have time to figure out whether your first-round pick should have actually been a fifth-round pick. You don't have that kind of time, in my opinion. You have to go. You have to move. So we'll see about Luchanko. And I feel bad for him because he's kind of in this – he's in – no one is probably more harder on himself for what's going on than he is, and I don't know that it's fully warranted because your ego gets inflated when you're going to be that high of a draft pick, so your belief in yourself rises the moment you put on the sweater for the first time. Right now, I'd have to guess his confidence is pretty damn low, and if it's not, I would love to know what kind of supplements he is taking to help his ego, because I want some of those.
Yeah. No, I hope so. I feel the same way, but who knows? Maybe he'll be okay, but that's what it looks, and I hope he's all right, but who knows?
Down on the farm, in our good old town of Lehigh, just outside of Allentown, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, looking good so far this season. Seeing some, I'm not exactly singing their praises over everyone that's showing out because the leading goal scorer is Carson Dorwart with 3 goals in 7 games. But Lehigh, they've put together a pretty nice product down there. They've got some veterans to help the younger guys along the way. Plenty of interest in guys like Alex Bump and Denver Barkey. If you want to take a close look at those guys. Emil Andre, before he got called up in 6 games, had 5 assists. There's that. But then the goalies. Carson Bjarnson has played in 3 games so far this season. He's 1-1-1 with a 910 save percentage, a 2.53 goals against average. But our boy, Mr. I don't have to fight. I shouldn't have to compete. Alexei Kolosov, making all of us earn it people look like idiots. He's 3-1-0 this season. He's got a 920 save percentage and a 250 goals against average. All right. Okay. Kolosov, prove me wrong. Become a star. Win a Vezina or 2 in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I've said it before. There's nothing I love to say more than I was wrong when it comes to the success for the Philadelphia Flyers. I love to be wrong about Kolosov. Please prove me wrong. You'll be my favorite player. Can't wait. Can't wait.
And then I just wanted to see, our old friend Ivan Fedotov has not registered a minute yet with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So let me just firstly say that this one's going to hurt me for a long time. I believed. I was wearing my Fedo. I was wearing my fedora. Yeah. I was wearing my fedora.
That's why his career went the way it did. Just that right there. No, in your defense though, he was a really, really high total prospect, and before he got arrested at the border, like, who knows what could have happened. Bummer. And I feel bad for him too, because who knows what his career could have been if he.
I agree.
If that didn't happen to him, so my heart goes out to him.
So as we begin to wrap up this Fly Guys podcast, what you want to look for over the next several days is just enjoy it. Enjoy some fun Flyers hockey. They're playing really, really fun hockey. They've got a game against Nashville, and that's one of those types of teams where they're probably the Flyers and Predators are about on the same level at this point. So enjoy the game. Enjoy your weekend coming up. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so it's hump day. Try and not let the rain that's coming through Pennsylvania depress you too much. Seasonal depression's a real thing, people. So get out there and enjoy the sun while you can, and get out there for some exercise, and be happy and be healthy. The Fly Guys podcast is presented by FanDuel, and as always, let's go Flyers.